Hello, everyone. So apologies for the somewhat rushed result. Welcome in. This is the IndyCar Racing Series presented by Corsa, presented by the Prodigy Racing Association. Thomas Cupper here for you today as we are preparing for week 4 of our season. It is the Milwaukee Mile that is currently underway. We are trying to get in as soon as we can. A lot of different issues are happening in the back end, but things are finally getting up and running. And hopefully we'll be able to see the track very, very soon. And we do. They are underway. The race is on. And we'll get this to you as soon as possible. So let's switch on over and get a look at the race. Things look a little bit off, though. And it appears this is going to have to be what we work with for now. So right now we are underway. We got Mark Hamini, who leads the pack at the moment, which is a nice little change of pace to see. Apologies for this. Move this on over. Get our beautiful race control up. This is the software that we use to get everything up and running. So let's go over to Mark Humini, who right now leads the Milwaukee Mile as we are on lap 6. It's a 12-person race. We got Danny Ray making the race, which is nice to see, as well as David Nannon, Bob Gangwer, Alex Jones, Joe Nurton, Marlo Duncan. But the important name you're not seeing there is no Micah Mixer in this race. So right now, it is all Mark Humini in the front. And let's get the audio rolling in. Now we can hear the cars rumbling as we go around Milwaukee. Mark Hamini sticking to the outside, then crashing in all the way down below the apron before swinging back out up top. Right now has about a second lead over Nias and looks to hold on to that. Nias in the 71 has Duncan behind, Nurton behind her. You can see a lot of the crowd members there loading in. It's been a bit of a mess on the other side, but we are running, thankfully. Good to see you all. Welcome in, everyone. Apologies for the bit of a broken mess that this stream, unfortunately, is. A lot of problems in the back end led to some issues to get things up and running in every facet. But we are going. We are in the Milwaukee Mile here at Season 4 of the Vision Corsa IndyCar Series. Right now, it is Mark Humini who leads the pack and has a 3/4 of a second gap on Nias. Duncan behind him, and Nurton in 4th at the moment. Going back towards 7th, here's Aaron Fontaine rolling in 7th at the moment, trying to get into the back end of Gangwer and potentially get on by. Got Rodney Roberts also in the race right now, sitting in 11th as we have a look at his Duncan, who ended up in a battle for 2nd place, has Nurton behind, and Salas had a crash and is in the wall. Immediately takes the tow over to pit lane. And it looks like Roberts ended up getting into that just a little bit, as Marlo Duncan's able to take 2nd place away from Nias, trying to prevent the back and forth battle that often happens. No caution flag out for the Salo crash, so we're going to keep on rolling here in lap 11 of the Milwaukee Mile, make it 12, as Mark Humini passes the line. Get this track map up and rolling so you can see the cars hanging around the track. So Jimmy Salo in the pits waiting for the tow timer to run out. We'll get to have a look at the crash that took place. So looking at Jimmy Salo now, which is the car in the back of this pack. Went down just a little bit on that yellow line, and a spin out causes him to spear into the wall on the outside, and then hits the tire stack hard, which caused the tow. So Mark Humini at the moment just looking to hold on to 1st here in round 4. So now that we can finally settle in, I'll give you the updated standings. So it looks like we've had another crash, so we'll have to forget that. And the yellow flag is out as Aaron Fontaine is part of the wreckage. And that car is all sorts of messed up. And the caution flag comes out. We'll get to have a look at what caused this to happen. So Fontaine here in the back has to go onto the apron, and he has a spin out as well. The problem with this one causing the caution flag is it happens right onto the track. And that brings out the yellow and brings the field closer together. First caution of the race. looks like we're going to be out of this caution pretty quickly as the lights on the pace car are not on. We'll wait and see if he dives into pit lane. No. Okay, the lights are on. I can see a little bit better now. So Mark Humini with the lead. Duncan right now in second. Nerton third. Nias falling down all the way to fourth position. Alex Jones in fifth, and it's Gangwer Pollard. Now Danny Ray, as David Nannon looks to be heading to pit lane, and that is the case. Rodney Roberts close behind, so Danny Ray will move up to eighth. With Jimmy Sallow a few laps down. Settled in and move things back into position here. Ran out of talent. Yeah, it does happen sometimes, Aaron. Apologies for the late start on the stream. There was a lot of things going on in the background that we were trying to sort out as soon as possible. Thankfully, we at least have them figured out now. We can just focus in on the race. Fontaine will be 2 laps down, and as we go green, it's Mark Humini who will stay in the front. Nerton ends up on a bad start, and so getting by is Nias, and Nias now threatening for second against Duncan, but ends up losing speed. And now we'll battle for third. Nerton on the outside looks to take the position back. And Nias has to back out, does not have the room to battle. So it's Mark Humini, Duncan, Nerton, your top 3. Around they go. Mark Humini collected the wall and was able to get out of there in time. And now the battles are getting a lot closer together. David Nannon now getting by Danny Ray again. Danny Ray hard on the inside line. Not working out in his favor that time around. Move on up now to Alex Jones battling Nias. On the inside of Nias, trying to slow him down and encroaching towards the wall, but Nias holds firm. Still on the inside, this time has an edge on Nias and is able to get by and take up that 4th position. Nias ends up slowing down and will head to pit lane as well. And so the advantage will go to Jones in that battle as Mark Humini holds the lead at the moment. So the first pit stop taken for this race, at least outside of a repair, James Nias will go in, slot down the 10th, now back out on the track. The problem with Milwaukee Mile, as far as the pits go, is you will be a lap down when you exit the pits. It's just a kind of fact of the track that you'll have to deal with. And as the rest of the field flies into the pits for their own stops, it'll eventually even itself out. And then the draw. Oh, no! Mark Humini's going for a spin! Nearly in the tire wall, but is able to avoid it. Matthias Mark Humini loses it. And Marlo Duncan will pick up the lead. As we get another look at that crash as now Jimmy Sallow is in the pits. Slows himself down as he makes his way in. Let's have a crash. Have a look at the crash from Mark Humini. Just lost it on the way out of turn 2. Was able to avoid the tire stack, but ultimately loses out on the position. And Nias has immediately gone into the pits and exited the session. James Nias out of the race already. It looks like may have gotten into an incident with Salo. We'll have a look to see if that is the case. Here's Jimmy Salo. Nias nowhere to be seen. May have just gone into the pit out of discomfort. Unsure exactly what happened. But there's Salo ending up in the pit wall as he makes his way inside. So unfortunately, we will not have an answer to what happened to James Nias. And we will focus on what we have in the race. We're on lap 27. It's Marlo Duncan in the lead and a 0.9 gap to Joe Nurton. Now extending out to over a second. And the yellow flag has come out again. And it looks like it's Alex Jones who ends up in the worst of it. Let's have a better look to see what happened to Alex Jones. That apron is claiming a lot of cars for now. And as the spin out happens on the track, the caution flag comes out to ensure the safety of the other drivers. And as such, we come to another stop. Danny Ray in the pits as well, while the yellow flag flies. A whole host of cars will go into pit lane, so David Nannon will get the lead. As he'll stay out for another round, and it looks like Salo. That's not Salo. Who's that? That's going around the track. It does not appear to be Danny Ray. Danny Ray catching up to the field. Everyone else is catching up as Aaron Fontaine at full speed, it seems to be. Watch out. There's Mark Humini. And Fontaine will have to slot in behind Mark Humini. David Nannon now the leader with Marlo Duncan in second, Joe Nurton third. And Nias is claiming he got hit with a disqualification. Unsure exactly how that happened, but Nias out of the race, and will have to take 12th position for this race. It's the Vision Corsa IndyCar Series. We're in season 4. And it's week 4 here at the Milwaukee Mile. As we have a look at the schedule once more, we're going to head to the Indy section of the series. In just a week's time, it's the road course first and then the oval. Let's get back to the track as the pace car looks ready to head off. In it goes. We wait for the flag to fly.
The green
Green flag racing is restored. David Nannon in the lead, but Marlo Duncan quickly gaining speed. Joe Norton gets alongside Duncan, forces her to the outside, and will take up that second place spot for now. Oh no, Marlo Duncan's able to stay ahead. Now Duncan playing a little bit more of a defensive game. Will go on board with one of the cars further back in the pack. This is Nick Polliard at the moment in 5th position. Keeping up with the traffic in front. And this is where the dirty air can be quite apparent. Marlo Duncan 4/10 back of Nannon at the moment. And has to be careful because the problem with getting the draft of the Indy cars in open wheel is the understeering you end up suffering from as a result. Not nearly a problem in the sports cars, but it is everything in open wheel racing. So cars will have to duck in and out of the slipstream to avoid the understeer that befalls their car. Joe Norton staying very close behind Duncan, who at the moment holds on to second. Jones near alongside Mark Camini, but the two of them get out of it okay. Aaron Fontaine gets another lap, and Jimmy Sallow has exited the race. It's Mark Camini on the inside of Polliard. Polliard ends up with a bit of a vanishing act, but Mark Camini holds his line and gets the position from Nick Polliard. Mark Camini up to 5th. Duncan now the focus as we cross the 3rd mark. We're a third of the way through this race. 64 laps to go. Right now David Nannon in front, Marlo Duncan having trouble battling from 2nd place to the lead. Looking towards the outside, doesn't really have the room this time around as Marcumini and Jones now going back and forth. Matthias Marcumini having quite the run after the unfortunate spin that he had to suffer through. Now battling with Jones back and forth. Jones right now with the upper hand. But Marcumini continues to battle back. The two of them still side by side as Marlo Duncan has gotten by David Nannon as well. New leader and Marcumini back up to 4th position. Word on the pole setter when this race concludes. So for now, just strap in and enjoy as Marlo Duncan now looks to hold on to the lead. David Nannon putting as much pressure on Duncan as he can. Oh, heads up Duncan in a spin, ends up collecting Norton. Right as we go sky high, Marlo Duncan spins out. And Nannon, unfortunately, well, rather, fortunately for Nannon, unfortunately for Norton, that crash ends up taking another. We'll have another look at Duncan's perspective during the incident. Goes in pretty hard. You can hear the car already sliding. Hits the curb, and on the way off the apron, just ends up in a tailspin. There's the contact with Norton as well. And that car is quite damaged. You can see Norton crab walking as he looks to make his way to pit lane. A whole bunch of drama throughout this first half of the race. Marlo Duncan looks like took the toe to pit lane. And a whole host of drivers will join her. Nick Polliard will be the lone man out on the track. At least as far as the lead lap is concerned. Danny Ray will take 2nd, and that, I believe, is Aaron Fontaine gaining a lap back. That is the case. Now slowing himself down with Duncan right in front of him. Marla Duncan trying to beat out the traffic that's in pit lane at the moment. Grabs another spot, will move up to 8th once we go by the line. It's Bob Gangwer who will lose the spots. So it'll be Pollard and Ray who will lead things off on this next restart. Pace car getting ready to head off the track as we are nearly at our next restart. Let's go on board with Mark Humini, who will get to watch the leader head off as the green flag flies again. Pollard will lead it. Nerton immediately gets by Danny Ray. A little bit of a slowdown as Mark Humini stuck in traffic. Alex Jones now in front in 3rd. Back to the sky we go. Duncan cutting through the traffic, already up to 6th. Looks to the outside as Mark Humini wants the inside of Alex Jones. Side by side, they'll go. And Mark Humini gets the advantage. It's Pollard in the front at the moment. Alex Jones right behind Mark Humini, who sits in 3rd behind Joe Nerton. Another change of position. It looks like a car is losing speed. It's Aaron Fontaine who goes to the pits. Let's continue on and get back on board with Mark Humini watching the battle for first take place. We'll back things up now a little further back in the field. The battle for 7, rather the battle for 6 taking place as David Nannon has vanished. He's just flat out gone. Appeared back again and lost quite a bit of speed. So has returned, but in 9th position now. We'll go to pit lane. Don't see a flag out at the moment, so not exactly sure. Hold on, let's have a look. Cannot see a flag on the board, so David Nannon in pit lane on his own accord. Pollard still in the lead. Nerton about a second behind. Nick Pollard pretty comfortable as we encroach the halfway mark of this race. Marlo Duncan in the meantime battling with Alex Jones for P4. It's Roberts and Ray who are battling Gangwer for P6. And Mark Humini getting very close to the back end of Joe Nerton and gets by on the inside. Mark Humini in second, but Nerton with overspeed on the outside will grab it back. Down and around turn 4. And Joe Nerton keeps the spot. Marlo Duncan now getting by Alex Jones here on the inside. Nearly come together, but Alex Jones backs out in time. We go back to the battle for second. Mark Amini within 0.2 of a second. We're on lap 54 now of the Milwaukee Mile. Right now the lead belongs to Pollier, but the lead is shrinking as Nerton has brought it down to 0.4 of a second. Marcamini looking to the outside, no room to go for the move, as David Nannon is also out of this race. So every other driver on the track guaranteed a top 10 position, and now a top 9 position. Marcamini on the inside of Nerton. Looks to get by, holding off with the overspeed is the objective. Gets back in time to defend the line, but Nerton may have room on the inside now. Nope. Goes back to the outside to get behind Marcamini and enter the slipstream. We'll look to get word on the black flag that went against James Nias. Waiting to see the results of that at the moment. But we've had a crash on the board as Aaron Fontaine slow out of pit lane. Looks like this crash happened earlier. Let's have a look to see what it says. Black, and there's another spin. The apron claims another as Fontaine gets looped around for the second time this race. As Nerton has lost second place to Marcamini, and Marcamini has slimmed the gap down to 0.2 of a second. Nearly in the back end of Nerton, looking to catch on up and get that spot back. No real room to make a move at the moment as Pollier defending well, but Marcamini's going to get a run on here. Goes to the outside, looks to make a move on the inside. Marcamini in the lead yet again, and will get back in time to defend from a move from Pollier. It's a clean 2-car lengths for Marcamini. Oh, thank you, Steve. Thanks for that reminder. Very, very happy about that. Marlo Duncan will go to pit lane, and so Roberts will get that 5th place spot. Danny Ray will move up to 6th, as well as Gangwer in pit lane. Less than 40 laps to go at the Milwaukee Mile. Marcamini in a clean lead, almost a second on Pollier, 2.5 on Nerton. Approaching the final third of the race, Marcamini with a clean gap of over a second on the field. Coming up on a lapped car, I believe. That's not Sala. Who exactly is that in front? That would be Bob Gangwer that Marcamini is closing in on. Marlo Duncan now a lap down. The next pit stop will have to be taken by these drivers soon. as they look to prepare for the final push here at the Milwaukee Mile. Looking to the inside of Gangler. Gangler will let him by without incident. Has to be careful dipping down below that line that separates the light from the dark tarmac. Into the final third of the race we go. All the gaps have really solidified themselves. Marcamini, Polliard, Nerton, Jones, Roberts, and Ray, your top six. No Micah Mixer on the board for today. As these drivers are going to get a chance to close that gap. Marlo Duncan would love that the most, but right now stuck a lap down at the moment, trying to get by the traffic. 12 seconds back of Ray. Has Jones in front. As well as I think that is Aaron Fontaine. That it is Aaron Fontaine behind Jones. Looking to use the slipstream and gain some speed around the track. %70 of this race done, and Matthias Marcamini at the moment leads it by 2.5 seconds on Polliard. With 30 laps to go, this would be the time to go into pit lane, you would imagine. Well, Marcamini could also be looking to extend this lead as far as it could go. Now at 3 seconds. Has to deal with a little bit of lap traffic. Now lap traffic heading to pit lane. Marcamini stays out on the track. It's Danny Ray who will head in. So Ray will move down to 7th. Gangler will now take that spot. Looks like Pollard will be heading into pit lane as well. That is the case. He's got Nerton right behind. They avoid contact, but just barely. Alex Jones will move up to 2nd for now with 28 laps to go. Man on the inside. Thankfully avoids contact. It's Joe Nerton in the pits. Unsure exactly who that was on the apron. Thankfully it's okay. We're going to get steam out of the way now. Ah, it is out of the way. Beautiful. That's not. Get that out of the way. My apologies. Get that off. And now we can focus in uninterrupted as Marcamini goes to pit lane. Alex Jones will have the lead for this race. Marlo Duncan right behind, trying to get that lap back. Alex Jones will likely need to go into pit lane, at which point the lead will go to Roberts. But Roberts also in need of a pit stop. No slowdown in sight on this lap, so Roberts will stay out on the track. Duncan right near the back end of Jones will look to the inside to get that lap back, and has gotten by. Jones with the overspeed, though, could look to get right back at Duncan. The two of them side by side down the straight. With 24 laps to go, it's still Duncan now cleanly ahead, trying to hold that ahead position, and does just that. Duncan gets her lap back, now up to 6th. And a 1.5 seconds behind Polliard. And Duncan goes around and collects Jones! Duncan loses control. And unfortunately, Alex Jones goes down with her. Duncan will take the tow. Jones to pit lane. Roberts will get the lead. Pandemonium in the final 25 laps at the Milwaukee Mile. Inside line after the caution is apparently what took Nias out of action. And Duncan, desperate to get that lap back, lost control of the car. And unfortunately, Jones went with Alex Jones, likely to be very upset about that. Aaron Fontaine the first in front of the pace car. The field slowing down to nearly a halt as the pace car is on. Roberts will now take his pit stop. Mark Camini, the first man on the track, on the lead lap. It's Danny Ray and Aaron Fontaine. We currently stand in front. Danny Ray a lap down, Fontaine 6 laps down. As we'll get another look at the crash, we'll watch on from Duncan's perspective as Duncan lost control of the car. As the front left tire dipping into the darker tarmac section, lost control on the way out of the corner, and around she went. Seems like another car is getting the wave around. This is Danny Ray, who will get a lap back. Seems that the battle will be here in the top 5. Into pit lane goes the pace car. The green flag is out. Nerton quickly looking for a move on the inside of Marcomini. Nerton with a better start, but Marcomini holding on just enough. Nerton there on the inside, and Marcomini goes around! And immediately the caution flag is back out. Marcomini losing all that progress and losing half the front wing, immediately draws out another caution 1 corner later. But now from first down to 5th, Pollard will be right behind Joe Nerton, who leads the pack. And Marcomini will stay on the track for now. Seems like the meatball flag is in the wrong spot, so we will shut that down for now. Apologies for that. Hopefully we can get that sorted another day, but unfortunately today will not be that day, as Marcomini will be heading to pit lane and likely bringing his race to an end. Marcomini was the one with the meatball flag up, and so is required to bring the car to pit lane within 3 laps. Seems like it'll be a fast repair for Matthias Marcomini, but the damage done already. Maybe able to get back out there and at least get close to the pack. Seems that will be the case. Marcumini now joining the field, will be in 5th position, but stuck in the back of this pack, including a whole ton of lapped cars. Alex Jones right behind him. It's Joe Nurton now who will get the start. It was 11 seconds after we went green that Marcumini would go around and draw out yet another caution flag with 17 laps remaining. A quick look at your standings. Oh, and no, we do not have time for standings. We're going to go right back to the track as the pace car is off and the green flag is out. And Nurton with a beautiful start this time around will get ahead of Pollard by almost half a second off the start. Pollard, Roberts, Gangler, Marcumini, and Jones, the remaining drivers on the lead lap. Danny Ray and Aaron Fontaine out there, a lap down and 6 laps down respectively. There's Joe Nurton in the lead, the gap down to 1/4 of a second. Pollard losing a bit of speed during the corner, and so back to half a second it'll go. We're gonna go sky high here as Marcumini on the outside of Roberts, trying to get by, nearly clips the wall, but gets ahead. Moves up to 3rd and looks to move down the pack even more to fight for one last chance at the lead. Marlo Duncan out of the race will take 9th for today. An unfortunate finish for her, but likely the repair damage would take too long, even with all the caution flags that we've had. As Alex Jones will move up to 5th. Gang, we're back in 6th. The focus on Marcumini, who led a significant portion of this race, but 2 spinouts. Now sees him battling for the lead from 3rd. On board now with Marcumini is Nick Pollard in front of him, 1/4 of a second ahead. 12 laps remaining on the Milwaukee Mile. Careful on exit, nicely done from Marcumini. Maybe could have had room, but was running out before the corner to make a move, and so slots in behind and will try again another day. Now we'll look for the move hard on the inside as Marcumini eats up as much of this inside line as he can and stays stable throughout, but Pollard right there with him on the outside. Loops around for turn 3. Pollard ends up losing it a little bit, and that's enough for Marcumini to gain a clean advantage. 10 laps to go. Pollard on the inside. Now he's got the overspeed. He's got the position for now. Ducks to the inside. Marcumini still there on the outside. Overspeed in his favor as Pollard struggling with the corners. Sees Matthias Marcumini hold the position and drop down to defend the line. Still a second down. Marcumini trying to track down Joe Nurton for one last chance at the win. Pollard continuing to struggle with the corners, may lose another position here as Rodney Roberts closing in. Pollard with pressure all over him will now have to fight for his life to hold on to a podium spot. Meanwhile, Marcumini half a second down of Nurton with 8 laps to go. Not many chances are going to pop up to go for a pass. Expect a lot of aggression and desperation from Marcumini. 7 to go. Cleaner around the corners is Marcumini. He's going to get a chance, but he needs to be perfect with it. Six to go. The gap unchanged. out of the corner. Nerton will get a bit of overspeed after going out to in. But Marcomini's pure inside line seems to be working out pretty well for him as he slimmed this gap down to 0.2 with 5 laps to go. Little bit wide, though, that time around. Nerton ended up on the inside yellow line, and Marcomini's going to get some overspeed. Could look for a move to the inside. He's going to go. He's going to give it a try. Nearly collects the back end of Nerton. Backs out just in time. But he's got more room to work with. 4 to go. No move this time. Possibly trying to bait Nerton to the outside, but couldn't get him to bite. Looks for an over-under. Gets alongside. Trying to hold on to the move, is on the inside line and will need to hold it. Can he hold the advantage? On the inside line, Marcomini in the lead. 3 laps to go. Marcomini on the inside. Maybe a bit of a slide, nearly touching that yellow line, but holds on. Duncan out of the race. Micah Mixer not available for today. And Marcomini could get the chance of the season to get some much-needed points. As Pollard, I think, has gone around. No, Pollard with a blink. Thankfully, not the worst-case scenario. We will keep on rolling here with a green flag. Until now, Marcomini around turn 4. It's white flag racing at the Milwaukee Mile. Marcomini now extending his gap to a full second, 2 separate spin-outs throughout the course of the race. But Matthias Marcomini, when it mattered most, holds on nice and easy around this corner, will do it. The checker flag is out. Matthias Marcomini comes back to win the Milwaukee Mile. It'll be Joe Nerton who gets the second place spot. Rodney Roberts will get 3rd, Pollard 4th. And it goes Jones, Gangward, Danny Ray, Aaron Fontaine, Marlo Duncan, David Nannon, James Nias, and Jimmy Sallow. Marcomini now on victory lane. And around he'll go. Gets the 270. That is race number 4 completed for Season 4 of the Vision Corsa IndyCar Series presented by the Prodigy Racing Association. Marcomini slowly making his way around for the donuts. As we'll get a look at the standings heading into this race and exactly how big of a race this will be. Marcomini not even on the top 10 for this season. But we'll definitely get a chance to shoot on up the standings. James Nias, Jimmy Sallow, Joe Nerton, Kyle Deckard, Spencer. So many names that Marcomini from P13 might be able to leapfrog here. And this could be a big chance for him moving further into the season. We'll get to add another name to the board as Danny Ray is able to join us for a race this season. And we thank you all very much for joining us. We'll head to the Indy series of tracks. It'll be the road course first for week 5. And then to begin the month of April, we will head to the Indy Oval. Thank you very much for joining us here. Apologies for all the troubles getting this race up and rolling. But before we go, we will, of course, get a look at the pole setter to see the qualifying results for this race. As we go on over to qualifying, it was Matthias Marcomini who got the victory there. And so he'll get a full point to work with alongside the race result. And Matthias Marcomini with a result he desperately needed for this season. We'll shoot on up. We thank you all very much for joining us. This has been the Vision Corsa IndyCar Series presented by the Prodigy Racing Association. I'm Thomas Cuthbert, and I'll see you next week.